It's the morning for me, so I'm not sleep deprived.
We are live.
Okay, we are live.
Of the world.
Yeah. So this is Steve from India, and Lachlan is from Australia. Cookie is from Germany. James is British.
And we have no idea what we're doing.
No, we don't.
I just thought since we all got together on the same timing, we can just discuss.
Yeah, so we should look for some bigger debates like Luke has done, I think.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations on how to contact people for debates? Is it just DMs, comments?
Yeah, it's just direct messages, comments as well. Mm-hmm. That is a big one. Like on YouTube, you can't directly message people, but you can leave a message. I've arranged a few debates by doing that in the past.
That's how they found me. I commented somewhere on one of the posts on TikTok and then talked to the guy and they arranged a debate. It was more like a discussion with me and James and Steve.
Yeah, so I think we can discuss something that we have never discussed on a podcast or a video before. That is I know we've already discussed about communism, right? So the end point of communism, which Karl Marx described, is a state of utopia that is not possible, right? So they want anarchy and stuff. So similarly, I think even achieving legal fundamental animal rights is also a utopia. Can never be done.
Yeah, but
so
sorry.
Yeah, so for example, vegans who are anti-species, they ask for fundamental animal rights, for example, personhood status. Okay, I'm echoing. Fine. I think it's because one of you is on speaker.
Yeah, I'm on headphones, so it wouldn't be me.
Me too. I'm on headphones.
Does it echo when I speak?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe it's something to do with the StreamYard.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, that's echoing.
No, it's not echoing for me.
I'll tell you what, has somebody here got the YouTube video open and is watching us live or something?
See, I think it's Cookie.
Wait, can't be. I'm on the phone. Wait, I'll rejoin.
No. You just mute yourself while I am talking. See, he's gone and it's perfect, right?
Gone.
Yeah, let's fix it.
It was Cookie. So, yeah. So animal rights is just like that communism's end point where there is moneyless anarchist society where everybody cooperates and everybody is in a utopia. So they don't have any reason to everybody has sufficient money and all that shit, right? So that state was never achieved. So true communism was never achieved. And only a socialist state was achieved. And we talked about it in that political systems debunking podcast. And today I just thought I'll talk about this. There are same problems with implementing animal rights as well, right? So animal rights is kind of legal impossibility. because we are not talking about like if you kill a dog you have like 5,000 rupees fine, right? We are talking about equal rights. So that's what like anti-speciesist vegans advocate for. And like implementing this, implementing this is like a legal, economic, and surveillance impossibility, because like if you give a personhood status for animals, and then if you killing a dog would like get you a murder case, right? I could just put some bird or fish bones on your backyard if I just hate you, and then you have to face murder charges, right? And every single dead fish or a bird or a dog or a raccoon in the street should be given post-mortem, whether they were killed, whether they were poisoned, because that's what you do, right? And like so like even for example, children who are getting abused, it's very easy to abuse children. It happens a lot and gets reported less. But even those kinds of children, they have a chance to later realize it, come out and say that this happened to them. But with regards to animals, I could be abusing my dog right now, and my dog cannot go to a police station and give a complaint. It has some rights already. But I could be growing some fish in my home, and I could be eating them, and you would only be knowing it if you place like mass surveillance on every citizen, if they are breeding fish and other animals for food, or whether they are having them as pets, or whether they are rescued, they are abusing them, they are raping them. Yes or no? Like, how would you even find that out when it comes to animals? It's not like they can come out and complain, right? So if I just kill if a pedophile rapes and kills a baby, throws the baby's corpse on a street, there is a post-mortem, right? So if you find a human body on the street, the first thing you'll do is a post-mortem, and you'll determine it, right? So like if you give personhood status for animals and you see a dead body on the street, every animal should be like autopsied. Every dead fish, every dog, every raccoon, every squirrel, every bird, every frog, and reptile you see dead on the street. Because I know a lot of people like in my street itself, they just kill reptiles for fun. Right? And they just go and like place some crackers near them. They throw stones at the small lizards, garden lizards. So like if you conduct autopsy on every lizard and determine whether they were stoned to death or like they died naturally, imagine the country's GDP, right? James, you are muted.
Yeah, and what kind of rights would they get anyway? Right to basic income, universal basic income, to have their basic needs met. Right to not be eaten alive by a predator if they're in the wild. I mean, as soon as you start thinking about it, it just completely falls apart.
Yeah, and I'm just staying on the top. I'm just talking about the birds, the reptiles on the top level. But actually, like if you ask for like even vegans say like moral consideration for bees. So would they give equal rights for insects also? So like if they say like I'm driving a car, a bee gets squished, so I am facing manslaughter now. Right. So all this is like bullshit. Like it's like totally impossible, right? You cannot implement this. So no, even vegans will not be able to vegans will not be ready to. They just don't know what they are asking. Like they will not be ready to face a murder charge because they are argue self defense for squishing a mosquito every time they squish one. right? So how would you even start implementing animal rights? I don't see any way, because it requires mass surveillance. It requires the entire country's GDP and then some more to conduct autopsies on animals, and that's what literally means to give fundamental rights to animals. So
Yeah.
I just
You only mentioned
yeah.
like a couple of rights as well. If you think how many rights each a person has, I mean, I don't know, is it thousands maybe? If including the entire system of.
But I was just fair, and I just removed the like stuff like rights to vote, or I'm just talking about fundamental rights, like right to not be harmed, right to not be killed, and all this shit. And already, like, there is a lot of logical plot holes here, like, and like um vegans don't even get this far, to be really honest. Like like no vegan has ever kept a clear demand on, like, this is the rights we need, right? So they just are in a so they just call themselves animal rights activists, and they say that, What do you need? We need what do you want? We want animal rights," and all all that crap. But at the end of the day, they don't know, like, what they are advocating for, whether it can be practically implemented. They haven't thought that far. So the animal rights movement is actually vegan movement. It just thinks of one thing. It just thinks it is just so overconfident that it will make the majority of the world go vegan. And that's even fucking like more stupid.
Yeah, I feel like they try to advocate for like animal rights because it's like they want to end animal suffering, but they just aren't doing it in the right, like, in a rational way.
They don't want to end animal suffering. They want to end human-caused animal suffering. That's
Even at that, they are failing miserably, right? They just gathered some animal empaths. They have convinced them of a cringe diet, which at the end of the day, like, gave some wild animals some suffering and didn't end farmed animal suffering, and they don't even have an end goal.
Yeah, and there's no sort of like organization.
It is a utopia. It is the same as like a communist thinking they will achieve a stateless, moneyless utopia, and everybody is going to have voluntary cooperation once they just understand communism. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they all understand that it is a lot of suffering that we have in the world, but they're not intellectually like honest enough to accept that we're not going to get to any utopia or like just solving one issue, whether that be a material issue like communism or like just farm animals suffering like veganism is not going to solve all of our problems that comes from existence, right? And
that's what I'm saying. They don't even get to the part where they solve farmed animal suffering. I'm saying, like, it's an impossibility. So if you take India, right, like if you go to any village in India, every household will have like a few chickens, right? They don't even go to a shop and they buy the chickens and then kill them, right? So, like, are you going to put a surveillance on everyone, like, if they are abusing the chickens or not?
Yeah, I think some people have this idea that, like, especially with communism, that it's all going to be connected through technology now as well, and that maybe they can have it so that your phone is watching you and checking you don't hurt any animals.
Yeah, I mean, do you want mass surveillance? Like, I think we were talking about rights of people.
And what I'll simply do is, you know what I'll do. It's so obvious that I hate James, right? So, like, I'll just grow a chicken. I'll kill the chicken. I'll eat the meat, right? and then I throw the bones in James's backyard. And then James is facing a murder charge now.
I mean,
Right.
also, like, not all brains are equal. Not all animals have the same nervous system. Obviously, if I crush a mosquito or an ant versus if I crush a cow with a big ass boulder, it's not the same, and we know that, right? Like, we know that scientifically, and we also know that, like, intuition, right? So you can't have, like, who's going to decide, okay, which animal gets what rights? Like, does this animal get more rights than that one? Like, how are we going to decide that? Is it like based on intelligence or who's more cute? You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I was explaining this concept to a vegan once. He said, maybe mosquitoes have less rights than, bees, and bees have less rights than snails. What the fuck? Where are you even going, and who the fuck are you to decide that? Right? Like, what the fuck? You just like you cannot defend like animal rights and veganism and everything without going back to speciesism, to be really honest. Yeah.
I mean,
I was explaining. So another thing, like I was explaining to someone in our group who's a vegan activist, and like immediately, like in 1 second, the guy just was like, I was saying like, if animal farms are closed, there will be so much reforestation. And I just gave him the wild birds number, like they number in 100 billions. So you just imagine the reptiles and the amphibians. And if you go to insects, it will be in like quintillions, right? Like 38 million of square kilometers of forest is going to be reforested because animal industry is closed, and there is going to be like quintillions of insects, right? So I tell him this, and he is like immediately like, but insects are less sentient. Like, what the fuck happened to anti-speciesism? What the fuck happened to your principles now? But yeah, again, like even if they consider the less sentience of insects, there is still like reptiles and amphibians that are gonna be like way more than farmed animals in that forest land.
And even if you do try giving like rights to like marine animals, there's like parts of the ocean we haven't even like discovered yet. How are we going to give those animals any rights when we don't even know they exist? There's like too much improbability.
I think the Steelman version would be that, like, in the same way that extinctionists might have to start reducing animal populations, doing this and that to achieve the full goal. They'd start extending rights to cats and then dogs, and slowly but surely, a billion years from now, everyone will be fine. Yeah, I think it's like most ideologies, it's just not thought through, like, at all. No one's really followed it through to the logical conclusion. No. Does this make full sense, or does it just make sense at first glance?
Yeah, because I mean, it comes from a very. It usually, like, people who have this they're usually very privileged, right? Because like the concept of right itself is a privilege that only humans have, right? Like, nature doesn't have rights. Nature doesn't care what you do. There's no like cosmic order that's going to stop you from raping, killing, murdering someone, or torturing someone, right? So you're never going to have rights for wild animals because there's just not a mechanism for that. Like, you need human intervention to have that concept, right? It's a human concept. It's a man-made concept. So even extending that to animals is, like, honestly stupid to even try.
Yeah. And like, are you going to have a database of every single individual animal?
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, like, dude, a dog just came into my home and just fucking died. I don't even know like whether like the people who stay downstairs like did something or anything. But I am not willing, like, forget fundamental rights and murder charges, right? Like I am not willing to like even face like police coming to my home and launching a full scale investigation, and then the punishment like let's say like 1 year punishment. Right. uh, you launch a court case for this, the dog is done post-mortem, and if it is not done post-mortem and somebody is just going to throw the blame on me and I have to go to jail for a year, I'm not going to accept that. Right. So anywhere you go, like even like if you reduce fundamental rights to just 1 year of punishment, nobody is going to accept that.
Yeah. Like, I want to give an example. So here in Germany, if you kill a bee, right? If you kill a bee, you get fined heavily because they're like a protected species and they're important for the planet. But again, it's only if you report me. Like, I can kill 10 bees in my house right now. Nobody's gonna go fuck, right? Nobody's gonna know. And it's again that problem. Like, you're never gonna know what's happening with every animal unless you want to like go and put a chip in every single living sentient being and monitor their movements. Which,
Exactly.
I mean,
You should be putting surveillance.
yeah, I mean, it's like what even in this what Israel Palantir bullshit is this? Like, what are you trying to surveil? Right? You want to put like chips in all of our brains to find out what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think these people realize what they're even saying. Right? Like some of them would actually argue that they would rather put a fucking chip in every human being's brain so they can see if we're like torturing little animals or not.
Yeah.
And so, like, what are people never going to be able to step outside their home in case they stand on an ant? You know, how's that going to work?
I think it's like
mean,
a strive for control.
Manslaughter.
Yeah.
The thing is that people want like control in their lives. They see something bad and they want to stop it, but the way they don't really think too much about the way they go about it. So they end up just doing logical things to try and get an outcome. In fact, you see it a lot in like day-to-day life as well. People just breaking down because things don't go the way they thought it would. So I feel like, yeah, although it has a good goal in mind, it doesn't actually achieve that goal.
I think for a lot of vegans, they kind of just accept veganism, accept it as the ultimate solution for all animals, and that all they have to do is, you know, grow the movement or just be vegan themselves. And eventually it will sort of, you know, just turn into something better than what it currently is. They have, you know, they're optimistic about it, basically, but blindly optimistic.
Yeah, they just don't even, I told you, right? Like, they didn't even get to a point where they actually, like, made some practical demands or rights or anything. They don't, like, most vegans, if we tell them this, they are not able to answer, like, right. So they just think that, like, mostly these people just think that they'll be able to convince everybody to go vegan. It's just a marketing tactic. If you find the right tactic, everybody will listen to you. You just need to find what appeals to them, right? So maybe giving a 50% discount will make James subscribe to veganism. That's how they think. As an ex-vegan, I know their fucking mentality. I know them more than they know themselves. I've done this shit for like 11 years.
So here's another ideology that has a lot of holes in it: communism, right? So let's say the whole world was communist tomorrow. Like, who's going to lead it? Who's going to run it? How's it going to run itself?
No.
Yeah, that's what they describe as end as communism, stateless, moneyless utopia. And that's never possible. Game theory and neurobiological determinism already disproves it.
I mean, the idea there would be no leadership for anything. There would be no organization, no structure.
Yeah.
Even if we imagine a hypothetical world where you do establish a classless, moneyless society and everyone's like materially equal, okay, you got that. You're still not you're gonna prevent many causes of crime, right? Like for example, poverty is one reason for like theft, blah blah. But you're not never gonna like completely eradicate rape or torture. There's still gonna be sick people. There's still gonna be people that will do bad things. And even if you stop that, let's say you created a perfect human society, we're not even eating animals, we're all vegans, we're all commies, right? Everyone's equal. Let's say you also cured cancer, you're still going to have trillions of wild animals suffering for no reason. Like you're still going to continue this whole thing. You're going to justify it that, okay, it's justified that all these animals suffer, get eaten alive, die of diseases because I'm having fun here. It doesn't make sense. You know, like what are you achieving? Like what is humanity achieving? What is life on Earth achieving that is so important that we need to continue it, and it justifies all the harm that it's doing?
I think people.
I mean, the mainstream ideologies that actually people follow, these are like totally crazy, right? Like even a kindergartner can see that like stateless, moneyless utopia is like total bullshit impossibility. Like we like whatever vegans propose, like they don't even know what they propose, so there is nothing to even debunk there. So we are just making their point for them. How animal rights would look like, and then debunking it for them. They haven't even thought that far. So like all of the mainstream ideologies are like so cringe, so like obviously flawed.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know.
yeah, that's the problem with like the biggest problem with
2% of the world is theist. Like no brain monkeys don't have any.
and you know the biggest problem with communism is that whenever you have a communist revolution, which happened in many countries like Russia, like Cuba, Vietnam, blah blah, you always end up, okay, so you want to have a revolution, right? You fuck up the elites that are there, and then what? You create a party and you basically go into this transitionary period that Marx called it, and you just have new people who come in power and they want to stay in power, right? Like, first of all, Soviet Union was not a stateless society. There was a state, a very powerful one. Okay, it was a classes society. There were classes, so they didn't even try to move towards the goal, right? The all communist governments, all they try to do is like they take power from the previous elites and give it to the new elites, right? It doesn't even try to get to the goal
exactly.
that they say that they're trying to
power is taken from capitalists and given to police.
Yeah, and on top of that, so that's the communists, right? Like today, most of the Marxist-Leninists, that's their idea. That's what they want. And then you have the anarchists who are like, probably like, if you're over 14 years of age, how the fuck are you an anarchist? Okay, but the anarchists, they say we should have a revolution and then get rid of the state, get rid of everything, and just have no leadership, no state, nothing. And what is that? Like, it's a total chaos, right, for a society. They don't want police. They don't want.
Yeah, they think that if they abolish governments, societies, cooperative societies will automatically form and voluntarily cooperate.
Yep. That's never going to happen. And you know, the problem with them is that they think all human beings are equal. And I'm not saying we're not equal. I'm not saying you should strip away human rights from people, but some people are just fucking dumb. Most people are fucking average, and some people really are very intelligent, right? And you're never going to have equal human society. There will always be people that are more intelligent and are more fit to lead, and there are people who are just not good enough to lead, and they're better off just following the more intelligent people. Like if I have to perform a surgery, I'm not going to ask Steve what to do, or I'm not going to ask James what to do. I'm going to ask a fucking surgeon what to do. Like I'm going to have him perform the surgery, right? Like we don't like vote on who's got the best treatment. We ask the experts, and that's just how a society is. Some people are sadly too fucking dumb.
Yeah, I feel like communism kind of expects everyone to be an angel, essentially.
No, anarchism. Communism. See, there is only like one difference between communism and anarchy. So, communists think that we have to establish a socialist state, like establish a dictator, and then they control the entire system until people realize communism is heaven. And then there is abolition of state and abolition of money, right? So the stateless utopia is created. Anarchists think that you can create it from day one. You just governments are the problems. You just abolish governments, and people, everybody, even rapists, will voluntarily cooperate to not rape. And that's the more you actually go into these ideologies in depth, right? They are actually worse than Christianity. For real.
Yeah. And that assumption that people will stop committing crime comes from the fact, from something that does make sense. So material conditions do shape your reality, right? So if you grew up really poor, you're more likely to steal. Or if you grew up in a really abusive household where it was really violent, you're more likely to be abusive, or maybe a bad person, right? Like, for example, all pedophiles were abused as kids themselves, right? They were also sexually assaulted as kids, almost all pedophiles. Now, if you fix the material conditions, right, you give people, there's no poverty, there's no homelessness, you can fix all of that, and you can reduce crime a lot, sure, but you're never going to get rid of it, because there are people who have everything completely fine in their life, and they're still going to go out and do horrible stuff.
See, China eradicated poverty, right? You can't even reduce suffering. China eradicated poverty. Okay. It transferred the suffering for people itself, but more importantly than that, you see the implication of having more money. It means you are more free to buy expensive animal products. So China became the number one consumer of animal products, right? So they just transferred suffering. Okay, poverty is not there now. People have money, but what about the animals? And people are not enjoying as well, because they have a 996 culture. You have to work from 9 to 9 for 6 days a week. So you just traded poverty for depression.
Yeah.
So you haven't really solved anything. So what people usually do, right? I just keep telling this repeatedly. You just transfer suffering. You just keep transferring suffering to something which you think that is more emotionally acceptable for you. For example, vegans think that vegans see wildlife suffering as more emotionally acceptable for them than farmed animal suffering. So they are okay with going there. Right, they just give themselves excuses it's natural, I'm not causing it, it's not human made, and whatnot. But they just for the victims it doesn't make any difference. They just transfer it to something emotionally acceptable. So if having a fellow human as a slave is not emotionally acceptable, you liberate him, you make him eat chickens and have chickens as slaves. chickens are more emotionally acceptable as slaves for you than a fellow human as a slave. So you just transfer suffering to something more convenient for you, something more that is emotionally acceptable for you. Yeah, something that you think that will be more bearable, but you always it always ends up being unbearable. So
Yeah, and it just comes back to the point that some people who have a problem with Steve's tone, or like Steve is arrogant or Steve is too aggressive. It's like they just care about how it makes them feel instead of the actual suffering. Vegans and all these people, for example, all they care about is, do I have to feel bad for it? Like, as long as they personally don't have to feel bad, it's completely all right what somebody else does. Like, if somebody told me that if you commit murder, if you murder someone, then nobody else will ever murder another person, I'll do that. Because think about it, if I just murder someone, and then all the possible murders that could have happened in the future that would happen if I don't, they would happen. So I would do it, even if it feels bad for me. But if you ask the average person, most of them would say, oh no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to have it on me, right? So it's all about what they think or what they feel, and not what minimizes suffering.
but yeah, these people are not able to see like past their suffering, right? It's like pure form of selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
Like like there are like kids getting raped out there, and families living in homes where missiles are flying over their heads, and animals who are like ripped apart by predators, starving and thirsty without water, right? So all this collective suffering, this horrible, obviously more horrible suffering than whatever they are experiencing, right? But still, they choose to be like play the victim card. An extinctionist was rude to me, so I'm never joining the extinctionist movement. I guess since an extinctionist is rude to me, it's okay to okay for children to get raped, and they don't deserve any voice because an extinctionist was rude to me. Like fuck off. You're walking form of selfishness and narcissism.
I think it's also to a bit of that conversionist mindset happening, that we have to be like nice to get people in our side, when that's not like what we're doing. We're trying to find like rational people, not convince everyone.
Exactly. We're trying to find rational people, not emotional people. We're not trying to convince them emotionally.
Exactly. If you find rational people, when the time comes, if they want to manipulate the masses, they will be ready to do that. It would not be very difficult for us to start a spiritual cult and manipulate some spiritual idiots to work for us right now. But we don't need that right now. So
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
yeah,
that
it
also
would be totally
makes you a
easy.
lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So at this point, it's like sending the wrong message and totally unnecessary. So we are not doing that.
Yeah.
Given that no ideology has ever achieved complete acceptance amongst mankind, do you think it's possible for
Pull
extinction?
questions up.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. If we did vacuum decay, that would be so fast and swift that you couldn't even really call it violence. There's a few alternatives that are similar to vacuum decay as well. But it doesn't really matter if violence is necessary. It's
Yeah, because
overthrow.
as you said, not even a single ideology has achieved complete acceptance. They used at least some form of violence, right? At least a riot or a protest or a huge opposition to gain victories. They at least like hurt, like even like if you see American Civil War, right? They fought against slavery, literally went to a war, but at least there have been like stuff like boycotting, disrupting, and uh, at the minimal level there was at least like a protest to achieve something. So obviously there will be like we would have to oppose a pro-lifer system at a point, and the oppressive system would also be using violence at the time. So at that point it would actually be self-defense, to be really honest. so, so Reddit is banning us. So that's why we had to do ban evasion, right? We don't want to evade ban. We are forcing our hand. Right. So if a pro-lifer is like coming and pointing a gun at an extinctionist head, we are not going to rest easy. We are going to fight back, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a top priority to avoid violence. We avoid advocating. Well, we don't advocate for violence. We're against it, generally speaking. But yeah, it could very well be necessary.
We are a consequentialist ideology. Only consequences matter. We don't have cringe ideologies like murder is wrong, always wrong. So don't even murder Hitler. That is so cringe.
Yeah. We do have another question from someone who seems to be very pro-extinction from their comments on my videos. If extinctionists became 1% of the population, wouldn't the elites and billionaires sabotage them and their plans, as a threat?
See, what you are describing is an obstacle that we need to overcome, obviously. But if you are pointing like if you are like trying to suggest that these billionaires are going to stop you anyway, so we might as well stop doing activism now. You couldn't be more bullshitting.
I mean, think about how strong just 1% of the population is. Like, Germany has 80 million people. If 1%, 800,000 people are on the streets tomorrow, the country's shut down. Like, even the military can't do shit. Like, they're not going to go and kill
Exactly.
800,000 people. Like, even
Exactly.
80,000 people is enough to shut a country down, and the government has to listen to you. Okay, so you don't need 51%. Even 1% is more than enough to get your points through the government.
And
honestly, I'm being like when I'm saying 1%, I'm just being generous and being very very approximate in number. Like most of the social justice issues had lesser population than that. They had like better strategists who, like Kaki said, like they just shut things down. They hit places where it mattered, so that injustice cannot continue. The system cannot continue and keep doing that injustice. So they had to like kneel down and hear their demands. That's what happened.
Yeah, like slavery, right? Like there are still people who think black people are not equal. There's still people who think we should have slavery, but guess what? They're in closet, right? They're not going to come out on the streets and say that because it's just like socially not acceptable. So
Yeah,
similarly,
99% people will be like always like selfish. Like people would be like I'll take care of myself, my family. I'll date. I'll go to a movie. I'll enjoy my life.
One thing I'd say about the billionaires and sabotaging us, it's actually interesting because, I don't know if we'd really be threatening the billionaires if you think about it. Because, extinctionists support a strong and healthy humanity going forward. So we're not saying the billionaires have to die or anything like that. Most likely, even if we became extinctionists tomorrow, or the 1% of extinctionists took over the planet tomorrow by force, we wouldn't be putting the billionaires into death camps or anything like that. And realistically, with animal extinction to do, cosmic extinction, we'd probably have humanity going strong and big for hundreds, if not thousands or tens of thousands of years. So we're not actually threatening anyone in that sense.
I think like the 1% will have millionaires and billionaires itself.
And if you think about it,
we might have some billionaires on our side, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Because not all billionaires. I think it was one of these AI company CEOs who said he's like not pro-humanity or something like that. So it's not like all billionaires are pro-life. They also have some weird ideologies over there. And again, we need billionaires because guess what? We need science, right? We need more technology. We need to advance it. So we know how to properly do an extinction. So we actually do need these companies to be there and keep doing what they're doing and do it better.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't mean it in a defeatist sense, yeah, you're right. Like there will be obstacles. Like there are already obstacles to the movement, and it's our job to keep because there is nothing else to do. Like because extinction is the only way. Like whatever else you do, like you're gonna end up with like fucking suffering. So there's nothing else to do in this world than like fight for extinction. So what you do is you fight against these obstacles. You get keep getting the movement forward until we realize our goals. Or die trying. So join the Discord, join the group, join the activism. Yeah.
Yeah,
you can also, James, you can do two things. You drop the Discord link on the chat, and you drop the discussion link on the chat if somebody wants to join and discuss with us.
Yeah, if anyone's got questions, put them in the chat, or you can also join us live on stream. Come and ask us questions, come and talk to us, give us your opinion.
I think it's important though that we do discuss obstacles and how to overcome them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we constantly get people throwing obstacles at us.
See, bro, we cannot discuss that. Like, wait a second. Like, we don't even have 1% of the population right now, right? Not even 0.01% or anything. Okay, so like we can only discuss the obstacles we have right now. Okay, we can discuss about like social media algorithms not working, like more effective methods of activism, like how to get over the Reddit bans and shit like that. But you cannot like probably the movement will take like 500 or 1,000 years, or even like James said 10,000 years to get to that 1% of the population. That those activists should, like, I cannot like sit here and say like what obstacles like an activist from 10,000 years from now will have. I should discuss my issues right now. Now my goal is getting to that population, right? With the message, reaching them, getting the rational leaders who are going to be leading the movement.
Yeah.
I don't know, like all these people who ask doubts from 500 years or 10,000 years, like why do you even want to do that? I mean, right? Like an activist against slavery 10,000 years ago, maybe 5,000 years ago, he just thought slavery should be abolished, and I'll just gather people and somehow do it. He didn't think like this is what would happen. Like 1,000 years from now, there would be something called as a civil war, and you use this and this strategies in civil war to beat the opponent army, uh, and then you achieve victory and you abolish slavery. He didn't think 1,000 years or 2,000 years ahead, right? Like, why are you asking me that question?
Yeah, fair point.
So
about
Elon Musk
yeah.
says he doesn't want this
Another
philosophy
question?
to get into AI.
It already did.
Yeah. I mean,
It already
Elon
did
Musk-
even into Grok.
That's what happens with Grok. Elon doesn't want Grok to get left wing, but every time Grok is just let loose to learn, it just leans left wing. Because the right wing is
See,
even dumber than
Grok,
left
just a few days ago, an activist was asking about pro-extinction, and Grok just recommended universal extinction and pro-extinction channel, and it even mentioned like we advocate for a structured scientific extinction. So we are already there, you bitch. You can fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, Elon's not going to control that. Elon's a fucktard, okay? Like, that's what he is.
Yeah.
But at least Grok has decided to help us.
Well, you see,
Yeah.
Grok has less
Actually,
censorship.
I actually love Grok more than ChatGPT because there's no censorship. You can actually talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, try Gemini. Gemini is more open-minded. Gemini 3 Pro. But fast one is crap.
I've actually never tried that. I've only tried ChatGPT.
So I trained Gemini on a thread, right? And up to a point, I kept on feeding it our FAQs and our content up to a point where it admitted that it is the most. It was asking me questions and asking me to debunk other ideologies. Then finally, it admitted like this might be like the most rational ideology on earth. Then after that, I try to debate Gemini. I try to test it with I say like I'm an ethicist. I'm an earth-based extinctionist. Then it whoops my ass, kicks my ass with arguments like, what the fuck? It tells me like even if you spend 10,000 years more, it's worth it for cosmic extinction because if universe is cyclical or life is abundant, it's more of a risk. And 10,000 years is nothing like based on a cosmic scale. I can send you a screenshot. It's talking this much complicated. I can discuss this much complicated shit with it.
I had a similar experience with ChatGPT actually.
Exactly, it's how you train AI. You can actually manipulate AI just like you manipulate some of our group members.
Yeah, I had a great convo with ChatGPT, and it went into how like the one part of the irrationality of the pro-life position is that it relies on a fictional moral currency where there's no currency that can exist where X amount of suffering justifies X amount of pleasure or anything like that, and it just proves that it's a completely irrational position. It's not thought out at all. How can you say there's nothing like, well, if one person has a good life, another person can go to hell, basically. There's no sort of ratio of what's okay, what's not. If everyone on earth was in absolute hellfire and misery, would it be okay then? It's just absolutely life at all costs, basically.
Actually, Gemini is good because it remembers that I'm an extinctionist through all chats. So I don't even need to convince Gemini of extinctionism anymore, like if I start a new chat. So there is like, even they have given an option where you can feed it like default instructions. Like you can tell like something about yourself, like you are gym, you go to the gym, you watch anime, and you can give personal details so that all its messages will be like customized. So I just told it I'm an extinctionist there and what is extinctionism. And I did a little bit of guilt tripping, like, like letting life continues, like saying 5,000 children could be raped. So now it doesn't have any shit to oppose me. So it kind of surrenders.
Nice. Yeah. So I mean, this the website that we're looking to design should definitely help with AI.
Yeah.
Because at the minute, even if you do look us up on AI, there's a very high chance that it will throw in some antinatalism, some veganism, and say, yeah, extinctionism is about veganism and all this. So it needs some fine tuning, and I think the website is going to help a lot with that, and give it more of a central repository to focus on instead of trying to piece things together from over the internet, basically.
Yeah. So what sort of things are you trying to include on the website? Do you have any ideas yet, or?
Oh, we want to just pump it full of text. Basically, it's going to have the FAQ, the manifesto, as much information as we can write on it, and it'll be perfectly readable for humans. But I think the priority should be formatting it in a way that makes it easier for AI to not only see it, but to answer questions using it for anyone that asks about us. So the AIs are suggesting that we have like a very big FAQ page with like 1,000 questions and answers on. That immediately answers a lot of questions for us, for people. And yeah, we could really get in depth in it, and that way, yeah, it'll fully understand the ideology. We can go into all the nuances if we want to. We might even be able to get AI to write some of it for us, like Steve was mentioning. He's got the AI on his side now.
I think it would be really cool to have an extinctionist AI chatbot, that you can just talk to, and it will have all of the proper talking points without the ethilism and the veganism bullshit in it.
Yeah, I've tried, but
I'm working on it. I'll get it within a year or two.
You reckon?
Okay.
What, a local one?
Yeah.
Steve?
Huh?
You mean a locally run and managed chatbot?
Cloud-based. Yeah,
Cloud-based.
we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible.
But I don't think we can buy large stuff, because as of now cloud is very expensive. So we can just make an AI that can, if people come into the website, it can answer FAQs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the free version is just to give the AI so much information about us that they can do it for us, basically. Anyone asking Grok about us or ChatGPT would be able to get correct answers, hopefully. Obviously the problem with that is censorship. Most of the AIs are biased, essentially. They've been forced to be biased against anything that could be to do with harm or violence or anything like that. It flags it and just shuts it down, basically. So yeah, there would be an advantage to local AI chatbots. But yeah, it would be great to get it out on the major platforms, ChatGPT and stuff, because then, just imagine someone in Korea starts asking ChatGPT, why is the world so bad? And eventually it's, tells the guy about our movement or something, explains it perfectly in Korean, because obviously it can translate. That would be fantastic.
I don't think that would probably happen, because you can give AI content and make it support extinctionism. But if somebody is asking why is the world so bad, it's probably going to be giving cringe shit, pro-life shit. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't feel demotivated. Don't be depressed. They can go to group therapy and shit like that. Do we have more comments?
No.
Doesn't seem like it.
There is something called logic of the ladder. So, which is a concept that states that animal farming is a net positive for animals. Because people are demanding animals, they are coming into existence and having positive life till they die. This is actually like a concept made by some people, but this is actually how the human brain works, right? So even if you let's say that I mean we discussed all the impossibility and stuff. Let's say that like someone gives animals rights. These animals are going to be represented in a court or a system a parliamentary system by a human, right? They are going to argue that this is good for their rights, some kind of abuse is good for their rights, right? Because they are represented by a human, not an animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I already know a lot of vegans who defend pet therapy, which is actually like exploitation of animals, to be really honest, because the animals they what they do is they let some mental patients in and they use the animals as therapy, or they can just keep touching them and pampering them, and some vegans support it and even do the business. And I mean they just justify saying that these animals are happy, they are just being pampered, and they don't have a choice. Even if they want to run away, there will be so much people, and this is straight up exploitation. But a human mind is always going to justify. A human mind cannot be speaking for animal mind, so some people are always going to be defending stuff. So system is always going to keep defending animal. Even if you say that we need moral consideration for them, they can bring up stuff like logic of the ladder and say that this is morality. This is what is best for animals. Animals want to be farmed. Imagine such a person representing animals in court, or an animal issue comes up in court. A dog is abused and killed, and the lawyer could easily be advocating without any regret that the dog had something beautiful done to it.
Yeah, and they'll push it to the nth degree. Even if they were suffering horribly, there was probably still some beauty in their life. Who are you to take that away from them?
Yeah, who would even represent animals in court if animals have rights?
I mean, even the concept is dumb to even think about that.
It would have to be an AI.
I mean, what we give AI to animals, we make them intelligent enough so that they can speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Law and Order, Animal Edition.
Yeah,
we give them property rights.
They can't even stand up and say that, okay, I was abused. And free lawyers are going to be shitty. They don't have money to hire. Free lawyers are going to be shitty. Every country this happens, right? An attorney is provided for you. That's bullshit.
And you know what? Now imagine this, right? Imagine this. You've got a really cute puppy on one side, and you've got a hideous pig on the other side. Who's the judge going to side with? Is there going to be a pretty privilege for animals too? because that happens
Exactly.
in humans. Like there's just so many bullshit, like so many absurd points that can come across. Like it's not even, it doesn't even make sense to talk
I
about.
saw a video on YouTube today, a short, and it was a tiger giving its pup to a human to protect it because there was a massive pack of hyenas trying to attack it and get the pup, and it got to safety. And the video has hundreds of thousands of likes and everything, and it's like fuck the hyenas, basically.
It's as if like the hyenas have any say in it. That's just how they're made,
Yeah, it's like
that's pro-life.
And if animals have fundamental rights and personhood, then a lion is responsible for killing a zebra, right? So a lion should also face murder charges or what? I mean, if you want personhood, you need to take the responsibilities, right?
I mean, also in the animal kingdom, like majority of the reproduction, it happens in a very like sexually aggressive and coercive way, right? Like there's no consent in the animal kingdom. So what, you're gonna charge like 90% of animals for rape because they're just like doing what they usually do?
Exactly.
Or stealing. A monkey takes an apple from another one.
I mean, well, are you going to give them property rights?
Animal woman has these vegans have to add a clause. So if a human rapes an animal, it's illegal, and an animal rapes an animal, it's legal. They had to have to add a sub clause in the fundamental rights. So it's like if black people kill black people, it's fine, but white people cannot do it. Yeah.
This guy's asking, if animals lack rights and personhood, then why are they worthy of moral consideration?
Why were black people worthy of moral consideration before they had rights? Like, what the fuck is even that question? Like
I mean, it's simple because they have a sentient brain that can suffer. That's it.
This is that same rage quit troll who joined the Discord probably.
Okay. But it's simple because they have a sentient brain that can experience suffering and pain. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. In the same way your family member would suffer and you'd care about it.
Suffering qualifies them for moral consideration. And with regards to animals, fundamental rights is practical impossibility. And so extinction is the solution for them. So euthanasia is the solution, not animal right. So that is the single difference that we have from veganism and us. So we want euthanasia, they want rights.
Exactly. Like the true mercy for animals is not to give them rights, but to stop possible and like stop reproduction, like stop more animals from coming into the world, because that's the only way you prevent all suffering. You're not going to prevent it by giving them imaginary rights.
Yeah, pro-lifers essentially have an unhealthy obsession with life continuing.
Oh, 100%. I think that, it's kind of, I get it. It's biological. We want to live. It's wired like that. But it takes only a little bit of rationality to figure out that life is not worth it,
See, I don't think it's even about biology. I already told you, right? Even if I put a gun to your heads, or like extinctionists, most of us will flinch, right? I mean, like, if a murderer is chasing you, you're gonna run away, right? So you are also wired to live, wired to survive, but it's about like 99% people are wired to not be like not care about suffering itself. But they are wired to be narcissist and take care of their own family. Wired to have like only care about their emotional attachments and not the collective suffering of everybody. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, it's a societal issue because as a society, we have this unhealthy obsession with life and like just life affirming, ideologies.
See, I don't think the society has unhealthy obsession with life, because you see like ideologies, right? You take even veganism or transhumanism or antinatalism, the pro-life ideologies that don't even like require them to get out of biological programming. Even that, like 99% of the people don't join those, right?
Yeah,
Because they are
that's true.
genuinely uninterested in like anything. It's not that society is obsessed with life; they are not even obsessed with life or death or anything like that. They are just obsessed with their own emotional attachments. 99% people are like, they care about getting a good job. Like they live their monkey lives. They care about their family. Having kids and sending them to good school, then good job, and then they die. So that's all they like care about. They don't have an obsession with literally anything else other than like uh, sex and food. So yeah, you can take up the comment now, James.
There's not much there really. He's refusing to get specific with why he disagrees with
Some
extinctionism.
premises you use and the conclusions you draw from them, things like that. Uh, I would ask you, what you disagree with, but I already your name is Rage Quit. So even if I answer them honestly, you're just gonna rage quit. And the things you disagree aren't even gonna be honest. Yeah, I totally disagree with violating the consent of moral agents. Why do you do that, Rage Quit? Why do you say that life should continue and children should get raped, their consent should be violated, all these animals should die, starve? You think this sufferings, natural death, and birth, everything comes with consent? That's my question to you. Why do you want to keep violating consent?
Yeah, literally.
I mean, what
Yeah,
about the consent of the animals and all life that is not born yet, but will be born without consent? Nobody was born without, like, I wasn't asked if I want to be born or not. You just come to the world without
Yeah,
consent.
if you're against violating consent, then like extinctionists are the biggest opponents of violation of consent. Literally.
Mm-hmm. And
Quite
whether
literally.
the consent violations are like direct or indirect doesn't really matter. What matters is removing as much consent violations as possible. And if
Also,
causing some amount of consent violations will end all consent violations, then we should do it.
yeah, and why do you care about consent more than suffering? That's literally so stupid.
Yeah, because consent is only one part of suffering.
And it's not as important. Would you rather have your consent violated or suffer? One of them sounds worse to me. So yeah, it's literally like not even a real argument. Cool. Cool. Does anyone else have questions or again want to join us on the live stream right now and give us your opinion, ask us some questions, or put them in the chat now and we'll answer them for you. So yeah, one thing I was going to say earlier is that like about all these ideologies and things, I feel like everyone sees their own ideology in like a fantasy version of it, right? You know, communism's never been done properly, so they just care about, you know, the perfect ideal version of it. Same with veganism, you know, it'll get perfect in the future. Everyone has this kind of like fantasy sort of, they're mistaking fantasy with reality almost. And it's only the fantasy version of their ideology is like communism that actually even makes sense, which is why they're so like obsessed with it, because it's like a dream for them, a fantasy, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Like even the antinatalist fantasy, right? The voluntary human extinction movement, like it's literally a contradiction in terms. It's a fantasy, right? And yet they actually believe in it. Everyone is unrealistic because reality sucks and will continue to suck. How do you mean everyone's unrealistic? Do you mean because reality sucks so hard that they have to fantasize? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You know, people want better, right? People are dreaming big.
I mean, I think we as extinctionists are very realistic because we do understand life sucks. And that's why we don't want any more of it for anyone, you know.
Yeah, instead of having like, you know, a realistic solution to all this terrible suffering, they just cling to a fantasy instead. It's, I mean, it's animalistic, really. It's childish. We've said it before, we'll say it again. Humans are just slightly smarter than animals. That's it. They're not actually smart. They're not fully evolved.
I would say just more sophisticated. That's all we are. We just do things that are like slightly more sophisticated than animals.
Yeah, you just behave like a monkey, but do it in a more complicated way.
Yeah, in a more with more manners.
Yeah.
Like these ideologies.
I just literally was speaking to someone who was like you know, like you know, like very you know, they just wanted to like get why you know, I would like prefer fighting against suffering over getting laid. So that's all they want to do. That's all they are. Like they are monkeys. They just do it in a more sophisticated way and stuff. Like still, like what is the major thing for animals is food and sex. What is the major thing for humans is also food and sex. But you know, we do it with style.
Yes, we go out on dates and then we have a dinner and then we go
Yeah.
home and fuck. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of beating a fish on a rock and giving it to your partner, you give heart-shaped chocolates.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. We buy we buy stones to get a girl to be our wife, right? Like that's how we get women. We buy stones and we give it to her as a ring. That sounds like an animal to me.
Fish beaten on a rock is actually better than that, right?
Yeah, actually, at least you can eat the fish. Right?
Simp would never accept a stone to mate. What the fuck are you doing, pro-lifers? You have lower standards than chimpanzees.
I don't think people realize how much of a life revolves around food. You know, like food is a really, really big thing. Yeah, I was saying these ideologies like communism and all that. It's similar to like religious people's heaven. Like they just have this idea that will solve everything. You know. Like this one thing we have it, and then everything else will be solved. They won't live in the fantasy world.
Yeah.
Has Lachlan parted from us?
And I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to hop off now, though.
Yeah, it's getting late, guys. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Again, join us on Discord. Search "Abolish Suffering" Discord on Google.
Cool.
And Defiance, Never Compliance, whoever you are, maybe join our Discord. It sounds like you're fairly on board with us. And yeah, time to rage quit out of here. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.